As the situation in Iran continues to heat up, exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi says he wants to build a positive relationship between Iran and Israel. And recent comments suggest that he may be in favor of building something else as well. We've got that story, plus exciting news about the Israeli police, an important step in the struggle for Jewish religious freedom on the Temple Mount, and more on this edition of Third Temple Update from Israel. You're not going to want to miss this one, and don't forget that I love reading your comments and I do my best to answer any questions, so please comment down below. Okay, so there's a man who has really emerged on the world stage recently, and that is Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. In contrast to the current rulers of Iran, Pahlavi has been bringing a message of peace with Israel, and he actually visited here a couple of years ago, back in April of 2023. And this is what he wrote about it on his X account at the time. As you can see here, he quotes from the biblical book of Ezra. "So said Cyrus, the king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth the Lord God of the heavens delivered to me, and he commanded me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea." That's from Ezra 1:2. 2,500 years ago, Cyrus the Great liberated the Jewish people from captivity and helped them to rebuild their temple in Jerusalem. It is with profound awe that I visit the western wall of that temple and pray for the day when the good people of Iran and Israel can renew our historic friendship. So here he is speaking to Hanania Naftali during that visit.
And as you know, the relationship that Iran has, or Persia, as it used to be called, with the Jewish people throughout centuries and ultimately since Israel was created, is really a biblical relationship.
Yeah.
Just these walls are proof of how far it goes in time. And of course, we take pride as a nation of being the children of Cyrus the Great, who was, among other things, someone who helped rebuild the temples here and freed the Jewish slaves. So it's truly a biblical relationship.
And here he is speaking to I-24 News at Yad Vashem during that same visit.
It's always been my goal to tell the whole world that what you hear from the Iranian regime is not what the Iranian people actually believe. This regime does not represent the Iranian people. My compatriots are proud of their history, a history that dates back 2,500 years when Cyrus the Great helped free Jewish slaves and help rebuild their temples. It's a biblical relationship that our two countries have had over centuries.
These are not isolated videos. Pahlavi consistently speaks of Koresh, King Cyrus the Great, and how he gave the Jews the go-ahead to return to the land of Israel and build the Second Temple there. He has a vision for cooperation between Iran and Israel, which he calls the Cyrus Accords. Here he is speaking about it last year with the Tafsik organization in Canada.
To discuss a vision close to my heart, and one coming closer and closer to becoming a reality, the Cyrus Accords. The name Cyrus reminds us of a deeper truth, that the relationship between the Iranian and the Jewish peoples is not a matter of modern diplomacy or fleeting politics. It is rooted in history and one that is ancient, proud, and unique. Over 2,500 years ago, it was Cyrus the Great, the Iranian king, who freed the Jewish people from captivity and allowed them to return to their homeland and rebuild their temple. That was not just an act of tolerance. It was an affirmation of religious freedom and human dignity. It set the standard for what just leadership should be like.
And in this month, January of 2026, Pahlavi said that he would recognize Israel if he becomes the leader of Iran.
The state of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world.
Also this month, here's a press conference where he talks about the Cyrus Accords.
I see extending this idea to a free Iran through what we could call the Cyrus Accords, honoring our ancient heritage of tolerance and partnership. The possibilities are endless.
And he again mentions his trip to Israel and the building of the Second Temple.
I went to Israel 2 years ago to show that we are the descendants of Cyrus the Great, who 25 centuries ago helped Jewish slaves be freed from the Babylonian government, helped them rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, a country that in the Second World War period gave refuge to Jews escaping the tyranny of Hitler, a country that, unlike this regime, wants to have cordial relationship with the state of Israel.
As far as I know, Pahlavi has not openly called for the building of the Third Temple, at least not yet. But the contrast he paints between himself and the current Iranian regime is very strong. As I'm recording this video, the current rulers of Iran support several terrorist organizations in the Middle East, which violently oppose Israel. These include groups like Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen. They use the Dome of the Rock as a political symbol for the domination of Islam over the Jews. New leadership in Iran could change all of that and create an environment much more friendly to the building of the Third Temple. But just like in the days of Ezra, Persian support is nice, but ultimately the desire to rebuild the Third Temple must come from us, from the people of Israel. It is our responsibility. Take a look at this story from a couple of weeks ago. Israel police vows to prevent Hamas victory display during Ramadan. The Israel police said Monday they would prevent attempts by Hamas to stage a triumphal display on Jerusalem's Temple Mount during the first Ramadan since the Gaza truce, expected to begin in mid-February. What are Hamas supporters still doing on the Temple Mount, especially after October 7th, after the Al-Aqsa flood? It should be noted that Israeli police barred Jews from entering the Temple Mount to pray just a couple of weeks ago on January 15th due to a Muslim holiday. This has been common practice for years, unfortunately, on all Muslim holidays. But it doesn't work both ways. Muslims are still allowed to enter on Jewish holidays. Okay, but we have some really good news for you too. Just this past Wednesday, January 21st, the police began to officially allow prayer sheets to be used on the Temple Mount by Jewish worshipers. These are papers that have Jewish prayers printed on them. The reason this is such a big deal is that non-Muslim religious texts have long been banned from the Temple Mount. So how have people been praying? Well, with their smartphones, of course, or from memory. We've been in this kind of ridiculous situation where you can have an entire Jewish library on your smartphone, but you can't take up a single printed page. This becomes a real problem on Jewish holidays when Jews do not use electronic devices. This has resulted in a lot of conflict with the police in the past, like this past Yom Kippur, for example. It should be noted, however, that as of right now, only specific prayer sheets are being allowed. They are being published by Yeshivat Har Habayit, and they are available at the pergola after you pass through the security checkpoint. This is a small but significant step in the right direction. It seems to be the result of National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and his newly appointed Jerusalem District Commander Avshalom Peled. If you missed my last video where I covered this new police commander, be sure you go check that out. but hopefully this will be just the beginning of much more Jewish religious freedom on the Temple Mount. Soon we'll be taking up the Torah, building the altar, and the third temple. So be sure you subscribe so you can stay notified when I come out with my next video, because if you want to stay updated, this is the place.
My friends, so let us reclaim the legacy of Cyrus, not only in memory, but in action. Thank you so much.